think probably that's all the introductions. My name is Robert Everett. I'm the chair this evening, and I've been for a little while. On my left or right is...
I'm Alistair Torrington. I'm the SNT Sergeant for the Town Centre.
And on my right, your left is...
Sergeant Davy Hill, East-West SNT Sergeant.
So we're going to start our SNT meeting for this quarter. I apologise for the lateness in advising you of the venue. That was my fault, I'm afraid, because I hadn't organised it as efficiently as I should have done. And Miss Davy was good enough to organise this room in the very police station. So thank you for doing that for me, Dave. There is an attendance list going around. If you haven't signed it, could you make sure you please do so and put your email address on it if you have one, so we can, when we do get a slight faux pas like tonight, we can inform you of where we're meeting and what we've been doing. And the telephone number details would also be quite useful. If you haven't, at this point, I'm going to plug the telephone system that we have, which is called...
Police Direct.
Thank you, Police Direct. And if you're not a member of Police Direct, I would recommend you give your telephone number over to that list, and also to either speak to one of the police officers here this evening, and we will add you to it. They will advise you about all sorts of things that crop up over the period of a week, and update you on anything going on, and if there are issues of burglaries and trends that are coming up. It's very unobtrusive, as it were. There's not dozens of calls coming onto your phone. It won't cost you anything, but it's just useful to know what's going on. So if you want to be part of that, as I am, it is quite useful. The purpose for our tasking meeting this evening, as you know, is to talk about any issues that you, the public, have around your areas. East and West is one, and Central is the other. And so what we'll do halfway through the evening is we'll split into the two groups if we need to. If there's a contingent from East and West that either maybe our Inspector Torrington...
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Promoted.
RG call
will then facilitate those meetings, and then we can talk about those specific areas and the problems you have within them. And after that, we will then look to come up with some priorities. So that's the way it's going to work. You would have gotten your chairs the minutes of the last meeting, which was held on the 11th of June. Doesn't time go quickly when you're having fun? So if you want to cast your eye over those, or you've got any issues or comments to make about those minutes, then please feel free to do so. But I'm going to move on, whilst you're checking those out, to item 5 on your agenda, which is the introduction from Davy Hill about our East-West priorities of the last meeting. So, over to you, Davy.
Okay, as you may have been aware, there was one priority set in June. Unfortunately, I couldn't make that meeting, but it was around antisocial behaviour and criminal damage at the skate park, which had recently been reopened in Olding Road. The priority came around due to the fact that prior to the skate park opening, there was quite a lot of young kids breaking onto the site, obviously quite intrigued to see what they were going to get when it was eventually launched. It did reopen, and there was quite a lot of antisocial behaviour around that, and there was some criminal damage spilt over the other side of the road into the business park. So it was raised as a priority at the meeting, and with that we put in a patrol plan around attending the park, and also tied in with the skate park committee. One of the things that did come out of that was the kids nowadays are quite happy and free to throw their litter down, so the skate park committee decided to put in a daily cleansing regime of the park, which obviously has reduced that. So Simon Pickering up there, who works for the council, has been overseeing that, and has actually been quite effective. There's quite a lot of bins up there now, sufficient for the amount of kids that use that park. In relation to the damage, there's been a reduction in that due to the business park removing some of the skips that they had over there, which allowed the kids to go over and grind the kit from the skips. So they have all been removed, so they've got nothing to go over in the business park for. There's been 2 individuals dealt with in relation to some of the damage that happened over at the business park, one by a community resolution and the other is going to receive a youth caution. It took quite a bit of time to get to them through investigative processes, but that damage has been dealt with. In relation to a potential drug issue that was identified within the park, we tied in with the Matthews project in relation to trying to get them on board within the park to get amongst the kids in relation to some diversion that they may have. That wasn't particularly received well by the skate park committee. They deemed that they potentially didn't have a problem around drugs, and we kind of differed on that. And as far as I'm aware, the Matthews project then didn't go ahead over the summer months, and they didn't have that interaction. There was one street warning up there for a possession of a cannabis, so it was dealt with by a street warning. It was a very low level, small amount, and there was also an issue identified in relation to older use gathering on Olding Road and parking alongside the road, which may cause obstructions. So we've done quite a lot of work with them in relation to how they park the cars and where they park their cars, and that seems to have reduced. At the minute, it's ticking along very nicely. We have quite a good interaction with the skate park committee and the youths that are up there. They're quite pro the interaction from police. They're quite willing to have that kind of conversation with us. So it's just a matter of watching that progress as we go along. But it's calmed down to what it was, and I think that's just a period of time allowing the park to reopen and settle down effectively. And there is older youths up there that are on the committee that use the park that actually assist in relation to policing that activity when it happens. Lights out on the park is 11 o'clock, so they do have lights on and will have lights on up to 11 o'clock, so there will be a lot of activity if you happen to be passing that area. So that's an update in relation to the priority that we had. Just emerging trends for us from the east-west, there's quite a bit going on. Barons Road, there's a series of criminal damage that's occurring down there in relation to hospital workers who tend to be parking off-site when they're not allowed on-site, and there's someone down there taking a personal issue with that and damaging cars. There's quite a lot of thefts occurring at the hospital at the minute, and we are trying rapidly to resolve that. So work is ongoing in relation to that, but it is an ongoing trend. Also, vehicle users up at Skyliner Way, Kempson Way, seems to be that 11, 12 o'clock on a Friday, Saturday night, are boy racers, for want of a better word, as they're commonly known, generic term around town. We call them modified vehicle users. They seem to be up there and using the back road of Kempson Way, the ring around New Morton Hall, developing as a bit of a racetrack. So there's an issue up there at the minute. And one that was brought via the Chief Constable's Road Show is light jumpers at Harrington Road, Stamford Court. So that's an issue that we've kind of been looking at as well. So there's four quite chunky ones there, let's say, that we have been looking at. Anybody any questions on those ones before we hand over to y'all? No?
That's it. Thank you, Dave. Alistair?
Right.
Inspector?
Yeah, Inspector, that'd be nice. Right, let's go through the priorities we had last time. We set 3, which is our maximum we normally set at these meetings, which is quite a lot for us to do, but go through one by one. The first one we had was street drinking in the town centre. That was carried over from the previous priority we had. Basically that was to deal with people drinking in St John Street, centre of town, where they shouldn't be, because obviously it's a designated public place where they shouldn't be drinking, if it's linked to antisocial behaviour. That continued really. I've got to be honest, having reviewed it, and obviously worked for the last few months in the summer holidays, it's not been a huge issue in town. There is particular hot spots. There is St John Street, where we have a few problems with the regular 2 or 3 people that we encounter on a frequent basis, where we continue to get hold of those people on a daily basis, and if we've got alcohol, we seize it off them. There has been no arrest made with that, because the people that we do encounter, generally, they give it to us. If they don't give it to us, that then gives us a power of arrest. In all times, they've been given it to us. However, from that, obviously we're doing some work on finding out where they get the alcohol from, because these certain small individuals are getting lager from specific locations that's cheap within town. So we're now obviously identifying where it's coming from. It's being sold cheap. We have got something called Reduce the Strength in both at Edmunds, which is a campaign that the operational partnership team use to encourage off licences to sell alcohol not to sell cheap alcohol at high ABV. But we're identifying certain locations that continue to do that. So that's ongoing with me, and that's what we're doing with the licence department. Next one, we'll do purse thefts. Purse thefts has been the biggest one for us to deal with really during the last 3 months. It's highlighted quite a massive problem in the town centre. A large amount of elderly people are getting targeted every Wednesday in town and having the purses stolen. Obviously these are vulnerable people, elderly, and the knock-on effect of that is that they feel very sort of intimidated about coming to Bury, which is not what people want. So because of that, we wrote an operational order. It's called Operation Wantage, which we've run for the last 3 months. Every Wednesday we've had my team and Davy's team work together in plain clothes and uniform, predominantly plain clothes, in town on Wednesdays, trying to target and locate these offenders. We've also had PCSOs on the market every Wednesday for the last 3 months on a stall, mobile police station, giving out advice to members of the public about purse thefts. That's included getting on buses in the morning as well, so when people that come into town, we get on the buses and give them sort of crime reduction advice. That continued really. We had an idea of who could be involved. It's out of force crime. They're coming in, there's Boris Edmunds from London, and on what date was it we had? 23rd of July, we ended up arresting a female who was one of the main suspects, and she's wanted by Norfolk and Suffolk for purse thefts. She was arrested, and from that we've obviously gained quite a large intelligence picture of all her associates, where she's been, what she's been doing, and who with. She's currently on police bail pending the investigation, and she's currently banned from entering Suffolk or Norfolk. Since then, the offences looked at this evening. In June, we had 11 offences in Bury Town Centre of theft from person, generally again elderly people. In July we had 7, and in August we had 3. So it's reduced quite a lot, and so far to date we've had none this month. So hopefully arresting that one person has sent out the right message. So that one, to be fair, will be finishing, as far as I'm concerned, unless it starts up again, which we'll have to start the operation again. But at the moment, hopefully that is done enough work there to resolve that problem. The next one was antisocial behaviour in Tayford Meadows, which is predominantly the play area. Tayford Meadows is a play area at the bottom. It's only very small, but it's located quite close to the residents. And there was problems reported there with antisocial behaviour, youths using the park at night time, drinking, smashing bottles, and obviously in the morning that posed a risk to the young kids that were using it. We've had various meetings with King Edward VI of the school, as they had also problems from their youths within the school, so they've been dealt with. We've done patrols in the evenings and given out encounter forms and sent off antisocial letters to the parents. From that, we've done a street a week a few weeks ago, and the problems have almost gone, we've been told. We have had another meeting, and we've got park benches getting installed a long distance away from the actual park, further into the field, away from the houses. So if we have got youths congregating on the weekend, they can go there without causing problems to the public. So that one, to be fair, at the moment is also going to be finishing. Emerging trends. Well, town, as you can expect, has lots of problems, and we continue to do the best we can with it. But a problem we've got at the moment really is going to be possibly St Andrew Street car park behind Wilkinson's. We're having a few reports of antisocial behaviour, people driving around at speed, wheel spinning, swearing, and being abusive to the public when they're actually approached and told to behave. So that's one that's emerging at the moment for the town centre, predominantly more than anything else. That's besides theft from shop and whatnot. Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alistair. Okay, well you've heard that the priorities and how they've been addressed. The only comments I would make is, I think with regards to the skate park, was that I was heartened to see two of the representatives came along to our meeting at Westerleigh Community Centre to actually take ownership of that themselves, which I thought was really quite sensible, and very pleased that they did that. And I'm sure that that's given some, the youngsters that do cause a problem there a bit of a message to say that it's not just the police that are looking at it, but themselves. They're policing themselves, which I think is really quite important. And with regards to purse thefts, I think that's in Bury, that's been a cyclical thing. We get people coming out of London, intermittently they get chased down, arrested, prosecuted, and then they go away for a little while and then it comes back again. I think probably with Christmas coming up, we have still got a group coming in on Saturdays. I hope we're not going to let that one go just yet.
No, yeah.
Because I think that could well mean that they'll start to, will be more, possibly more of them coming up over the Christmas period, so we need to keep an eye on that one. Okay, any comments from the central? So if that's the case, I'm now going to go to that usual when I ask for those to declare who's central and who's east and west. Right. Thank you all very much indeed for that. I hope you were able to give a reckoning of the problems that you are receiving and understanding at the moment. So if I go over to Davey first and we talk about what you've got, because I think you've probably got from the last priorities the least number on east-west, haven't you?
Uh-huh.
So where are we? What have you got?
Well, the group raised a couple of issues, one being the new development, Glastonbury Court, which obviously Kerry UK are rebuilding, and it's going to be potentially a future issue of congestion in relation to that site being built. So it's just a kind of raise awareness of that. Secondly, some H boxes that haven't been put in Hollywell Close and the road surface there that isn't particularly good. Which I will take to Abdul Karim at the highways. Issue raised that over the summer there's been a couple of incidents of beer bottles, wine bottles and litter around the play park in Gainsborough Fields. And lastly, the signs in relation to the parking at the Hardwick Shops precinct have come down, which means that the hospital staff are now re-parking back on that car park. So the issue to identify really is who owns that site. Is it council? Is it private?
It's council.
I thought it was council.
It's council.
And why have the signs come down? So it's against an issue just to inquire into more than anything else. And that was the issues raised from the East-West contingent.
So which ones?
I mean, personally, I know I raised the Barnes Road criminal damage series. That's come through, obviously, some of the residents within that area, and obviously the crime reporting, and I'd like to have a look at that over the next phase, the next 3-month period, in relation to trying to reduce that criminal damage, and also look at the road layout to see if there's anything else further that needs to be done in relation to the markings of that road, because I know we've always had an issue of double parking on the road anyway, so I think there's an opportunity now to kind of have a look at that. So it would be the criminal damage in Barnes Road as one thing.
Very difficult, because the park there, somebody comes along, parks on the other side of the road, the buses can't get through. People have been great trouble getting through it.
I thought they were going to address that issue with single lines on the opposite side.
I don't think it's been
Hasn't been done.
done.
Hasn't been done.
So
It's almost 12 months now. Mr. Brewer promised us it'd be done.
Could you do me a favour? Just next time you're passing, ask him. Just if it, on Steve Ball.
Well, I think Davey's already got a link into them, haven't you?
yeah,
I've
I generally
So
work
there's no
through.
Okay, that's fine.
I
He's
generally work
already
through
on it,
Abdul Karim rather than Steve.
Okay.
Abdul's usually
Abdul
I think he
seems
works
to be
it-
the can-do person.
he's the go-to
I know,
guy.
he's good boy.
Yeah, so I tend to work with him. So I'll take that along with obviously the criminal damage issue.
Is the road due for resurfacing? Is it in good state?
No, it's not bad state, that particular area.
I'm just wondering whether they've held back on the basis of going to be resurfacing. They've done a lot of resurfacing
Because
around
we're going to put yellow lines right round the greens,
Yeah.
single line on the other side.
Okay. Well, if Dave can have a look at that. They can have a look at that for us. Okay. And then over to you, Alistair, for Central. We've got a couple of issues there. So we're sitting in on yours.
Central, we've discussed ongoing problems with parking, which just seems to be getting worse around the Churchgates Association, that area. That is something we can look at, and I think we will probably look at adopting. So we'll take that on as a priority. Being the central core, and that is quite a busy area of town for commuters, we'll look at that as a, so we can address problems there, and also look at what stats there have been in the past regarding hotspots around town, see if we can find out, I don't know how we can find out, but I'll do some digging, if we can find out what areas are the hotspots in town, the tickets that we've issued in the past, to find out if that is one of the main problems. That's one. Second one was more specific, an issue in St John Street at a certain address where there's drug use going on. That's something that I've spoken to the lady about, and we can look into that, doing street a week, and seeing what action we can take, enforcement reference for the warrants and intelligence. That will not be a priority, but that was something that I can liaise with myself as SNT and deal with a specific matter. Pubs, nightclubs, there's been issues regarding problems in St Andrew Street, Brent Roller Street and Wisbegate Street. There's 3 pubs there, the Grapes, the Gym and Carews, maybe not abiding by their licence conditions. A lot of noise and trouble late in the night, past the closing times. So that's something that we're going to look into. Linked with, I think, what I'll do is I've had some emails from representations of ASB in St Andrew Street car park behind Wilkinson's. It's all sort of late night Friday and Saturday stuff, so I think those 2 will be linked together as an ongoing priority. So I'll take 2 on that are tutor at this time, which will be Churchgate Street and the pubs and clubs and ASB in the car park.
Excellent. Are you busy then?
Well.
There we go. So I hope we've all got your gripes out there in the public domain, as it were, and it looks like they're all going to be taken on board, because we didn't have very many on the central anyway, so that can be picked up. I'm really pleased that the pub watch is up and going again, and well done to Dawn for picking that up and running with it, because I think it's important that all the licenses and licensees get involved in that, because it can also be self-policing if they do it right. So, and I'm interested to hear about the innkeeper as well, because I think certainly the licensing department at SNEDs would like to know where there are issues prior to...
They're keyed into that through the nighttime coming group,
Yeah,
so they get that information from the central licensing team, so they're already know.
good. That's good to know. So, if you're all happy with those priorities being set for the next 3 months, I don't see any dissenters, so that's good. In that case, I would say thank you all very much indeed for coming. Our next meeting will be on the 10th of December, so you'll be notified that. And I suspect, unless you know, I get told otherwise, it will be at the Southgate Community Centre at 7 o'clock. But that will be confirmed either by email or on the posters. And I shall look forward to seeing you all in December with the mince pies. Thank you all very much indeed for coming.